voting. There we
Okay.
go.
Okay, everybody on the video stream, welcome. We had some technical difficulties. We only got through a few points. We still have a lot of meeting left to go. So we are moving on, I believe, to a report from the Bylaws Committee. Now, this is something that I'm very excited about. And I'm not sure if we decided who the chair of the Bylaws Committee was. Sandra, do you have that information available?
Someone's muted us.
I don't think, well, I was looking at my notes. I don't think we made someone in charge of the bylaws. So
Okay. All right. Well, do you or Mary want to cover this, or do you want to?
well, I think you should cover it. You did such a great job on helping us put it together. So I think you should cover it.
Okay. All right. We'll do. Oh, and now we have Charlene Myers in on the call, and Charlene is Indigenous and a voting member. So welcome, Charlene. Okay. So okay, Sandra, this is probably the point where we would bring up the bylaws. Now, just a point of reference, everybody here, was there anybody who did not get or have a chance to look over the bylaws, the draft bylaws that we sent out? Okay. All right. Well, in that case, what we'll do is assume that everybody supports them. If anybody wants to raise an objection to anything in the bylaws, speak up, and we will do our best to amend them, go over them, whatever you need to do. But in consideration of time, I think we'll just read through them, and anybody who wants to object, please do. Okay.
And I hope you guys can see this.
I can see it just fine, Sandra. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So the bylaws of the West Virginia Democratic Party Indigenous Caucus. Article 1, Policy and Goals. Section 1. It shall be the policy of this caucus in the execution of all endeavors to contribute to the growth and influence of the Democratic Party, to establish and maintain an inclusive Indigenous presence in the party, and to support the party candidates for Democratic leadership throughout the state and nation. Section 2. We shall hold workshops and programs to educate and train interested Democrats to participate in voter training, outreach, political education, legislative tracking, research, and how to participate in the Democratic Party. Section 3. We shall hold workshops and programs to educate interested individuals in the cultural history and current issues of concern to the Indigenous peoples of West Virginia. Section 4. We shall assist Democratic legislative organizations and legislators in establishing relationships with the members and community of the Indigenous Caucus. Section 5. We shall facilitate the organization of Democrats. Section 6. We shall maintain a healthy relationship with the West Virginia Democratic Party and assist in disseminating party information to our members. Article 2, Membership. Section 1. Membership shall include those persons who are 1. Indigenous peoples who are registered Democrats, or 2. Registered Democrats and those ineligible to register as Democrats, but who have expressed an intent to register as a Democrat upon becoming eligible, with an interest in developing broader understanding of issues that affect the Indigenous community, inclusion in the educational process of how the political system works, exchanging cultural education, political training, voter outreach, and participation of the Indigenous peoples in the Democratic Party, and who support the mission of this caucus. Section 2. Only those individuals specified in Article 2, Section 1, A and B, shall be eligible for full membership. They will be entitled to all membership privileges upon payment of annual dues. Section 3. Members and non-members shall be eligible to participate in discussions, meetings, and training work. But voting and holding office shall be restricted to members only. Section 4. The Indigenous Caucus supports non-discrimination in membership, including gender, race, sexual orientation, age, disability, religion, national origin, or income level. We are inclusive. Article 3, membership dues. The amount of dues payable for membership shall be established by the executive board by simple majority at an officially designated and noticed executive board meeting. Notice of intent to raise dues shall be established in writing to the membership prior to the actual increase in annual dues. Membership, Section 2. Membership dues are $5 and renewed at the state convention for the period of a full year. Section 3. The caucus waives any dues for economic hardship. Section 4. Sponsorships provide the Indigenous Caucus the funds to conduct meetings. The following sponsorship contributions for annual 1 year membership fees are available at the following rates: $5,000, $1,000, $500, $250, $100, $50, and $25. The regular yearly dues will remain at $5 and free for low-income students and those 60 plus. Article 4, Executive Board. The officers, male and female co-chairs, immediate chairperson, and committee officers shall constitute the executive board. A member of the executive board may be removed following 3 consecutive absences from noticed meetings or 3 unexcused absences during a calendar year. If an officer misses 3 meetings in a year after notice of the charges against them and a hearing at a meeting whose notice includes the issue, has been determined to have failed their duty as an officer by a 2/3 vote of the members present and voting, they will be removed and a new election shall be held at the next meeting. The executive board, Section 2. The executive board shall no less than 6 times during the calendar year for the purpose of planning and directing the activities and policies for the calendar year. Joint meetings with other West Virginia Democratic Party Inclusion Caucus co-chairs, meet at West Virginia Democratic Party Affirmative Action Committee will occur at least once during each calendar year. A simple majority of members of the executive board shall constitute a quorum. No proxy shall be allowed. Section 4. Special meetings of the board may be called by any member of the board, but special meetings will not be subject to the act or excused policy. Section 5. As the executive board is representative of the membership of the caucus, has the right to know how its representatives have voted. No vote on the executive board of the caucus may be taken by secret ballot. Article 5, Officers. Section 1. The officers of the WVDP Indigenous Caucus will be elected at the first state convention of the calendar year in even numbered years and shall hold office for 2 years with election at the state convention. The office, Section 2. The offices and officers shall be female co-chair, male co-chair, immediate past chairperson, treasurer, recording secretary, and parliamentarian. Section 3. Duties of the officers. Number 1, co-chair. The co-chair shall choose 1 presiding officer per meeting to preside and name special project committees. The co-chairs are members of all committees. 2, immediate past chairperson. The immediate past chairperson shall provide active support and continuity to the board. Number 3, treasurer. Pursuant to compliance with the West Virginia Democratic Party bylaws, the treasurer shall A, collect dues from the membership and turn it into the appropriate bodies within the WVDP. Any money received at other times must be deposited in the appropriate body within the WVDP within 15 calendar days. B, serve as one of the signers on checks as authorized by the executive board. C, this caucus shall not raise nor disburse funds other than nominal dues and standard or routine costs of operation and regular meetings. D, the treasurer of this caucus shall submit quarterly financial reports with the treasurer of the Democratic State Party. The treasurer shall promptly account for all caucus funds and prepare financial reports as required by WVDP. The treasurer shall present a biennial fundraising and budget proposal and shall submit it to the executive committee of the WVDP or the state chair for recommendation and approval. 4, recording secretary. The recording secretary shall attend and take minutes of the proceedings for all general meetings and all regular executive board meetings. A, accurately maintain all membership records, email addresses, and documents relating to the caucus. B, receive, record, and answer regular or emailed communications. C, provide notice of meetings to executive board members and the membership. 5, parliamentarian. The parliamentarian shall provide advice, instruction, and correct interpretation of the parliamentarian procedures and Robert's Rules of Order. Section 4. Should a member elected as an officer of the caucus cease to be a member for any reason, such a vacancy must be filled within 60 days of the vacancy. The executive board shall be empowered to fill any vacancies that occur until the next caucus meeting. Members will receive notification of said vacancy with the minutes in the agenda of the next meeting of the caucus, and the eligible for consideration will be afforded the opportunity to seek said offices. Article 6, meetings. Section 1. Regular meetings of the membership will be held at least monthly. Section 2. Regional meetings for outreach and training will be noticed at least 2 weeks in advance by email, phone, and/or social media. These meetings are open to all members and all interested parties. Section 3, public meetings. All public meetings of the caucus shall be open to all members of the Democratic Party and members of the press or invited guests, regardless of race, color, creed, national origin, sex, age, religion, ethnic identity, sexual origin, persons with disabilities as defined by the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, or economic status. Article 7, caucus records and reports. Section 1. The caucus shall maintain adequate and correct accounts, books, and records of all caucus activity. The appropriate constitutional officer shall maintain all such books and records. Section 2. Such books and records shall be open to inspection by officers and members in good standing at all times for purposes approved by the executive board upon giving adequate and reasonable notice before said inspection. Section 3. There shall be a biannual report of membership and accounting given to the executive board and an annual report given to membership at the state convention. Article 8, endorsements. The caucus may not endorse candidates for public office that are not members of the Democratic Party pursuant to the bylaws of the West Virginia Democratic Party. Section 2. The caucus is prohibited from endorsing candidates for partisan or nonpartisan office unless a candidate has received the official endorsement of the West Virginia Democratic Party. Furthermore, unless a candidate has received the official endorsement of the West Virginia Democratic Party, all motions of support, recommendation, or their expressions of approval, no matter how denominated, will be ruled out of order at any meeting of the caucus. Article 9, amendments. Section 1, amendments to the bylaws by the executive board or by a petition signed by a majority of board members. The amendment must be in section 2. The amendment must be in written form before being presented to the body for a first reading. Members holding caucus member cards for the current year are eligible to vote on said amendment at the next meeting of the caucus. The amendment needs a vote of 60% of the membership in order to pass. Article 10, procedures and obligations. Section 1, all proceedings not covered in this Constitution of Bylaws shall be governed by the latest edition of Robert's Rules of Order. Section 2, the caucus recognizes its obligations under the Affirmative Action Plan and under the bylaws of the West Virginia Democratic Party. Is that everything, Sandra?
Yeah, that's it. I did notice a few typos. I can fix those if everyone's in agreement. And other than that, I printed it off. I'm going to put it in a binder. I've already started. Well, let me clear the screen here. Stop sharing. Okay, there we go. I'm going to start a binder. This is the very first document. Copy of the bylaws is going to go in this folder. And I will be keeping all paperwork so we have records.
All right. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add, have questions about with the bylaws before we put them to a vote?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're ready. Okay. I think we're ready for the question. Well, does somebody else want to make the motion? I make a lot of motions here to pass the bylaws.
I make a motion to pass the bylaws.
Second,
Okay.
debate. Anybody have anything to add to it?
It's good.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, all those in favor of passing the bylaws as read?
Aye.
Okay. I think, let's see, any opposing? All right. Mark that down as passed with unanimous consent. That is fantastic, guys. Okay. Let me see what our next item on the agenda is. Report of the co-chairs of the Indigenous Caucus. Okay. So I guess that is going to be me again. I've been doing a lot of talking here, but I wanted to give everybody an update on what's going on with the AAC. There's a lot of things happening. Not a lot of them are good. The Indigenous Caucus has been refused seats on both planning and law subcommittee. We haven't,
Okay, Seth, you're breaking up a lot.
I'm breaking up. a lot.
Maybe talk a little slower so we can
Okay.
catch it.
Okay. So what we're dealing with in the AAC is a situation where we've been ultimately disenfranchised. It's an issue that I've been bringing up. I've been trying to keep it from the membership, but we're at a point now where they're almost done crafting the bylaws and the plan. And nobody from the Indigenous Caucus has had an opportunity to speak before either committee. We've been denied seats, and that's why, our past resolution saying that without minority input. Thank you, Kim. It was not written with the minority caucuses. So we have a situation brewing at the AAC that's very similar, if you're all familiar with what happened on June 3rd with the Democratic Party. So I want to let everybody know that we are working on remedies. I do a few of the members. I'm hoping to get past this, but everything that's good. The next meeting comes, they present bylaws or a plan. I won't be supporting them because we haven't had a chance to give input. So I just wanted to let everybody know that situation. And if anybody had any questions about what's going on at the AC, now would be the time. Okay, well,
Okay, yeah, that, I think that's an interesting set of things going on there. But I think you've done the right thing, so.
yeah, I'm just hoping that this all will, as the time goes on, by the time we get to 2022, hopefully we're past it.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, Kim, yeah, actually, that is something that we should probably bring up. Mary Ann Claytor, myself, and Mary have been in the process of writing, and we're getting ready to file a grievance against the people who have been, well, specifically against Mary Thorpe and Selena Vickers, the female co-chair of the AAC and the secretary parliamentarian. The flagrant abuse of power and the way that they've been doing things is and I believe Kim might sign off on it as well. So we've got 4 people ready to go to try to remedy this within the party. You know, that's the goal, is to make sure that we can get this done before we get into 2022. So when that grievance is final and when I finally sent it off, I'll send it to you, Sandra, and then you can disseminate it to our people so that they could see what we're up, what we've said. We don't want to keep anything in the dark. So, you know, I didn't want this to come to this. I really didn't. But that's why we're talking about it tonight. So, okay, now on to, well, you know what? I have one here, the discussion of the logo, but because I'm not on my computer, I can't bring up the logos that I had. Here's a question. Has everybody seen the logo that we've been using as a placeholder? No. Okay. All right. So in that case, I move that we table this discussion until the next time when I have my computer up and running.
That's what I was gonna suggest.
Okay, so seconded. So all those in favor, aye.
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 Okay. All those opposed? Okay. Okay, so we're just going to move on from that one and go on to, oh, okay, this is something that's very exciting for me. I talked to Belinda Biafor and ran the idea past her of what if the Indigenous Caucus started our own YouTube show / podcast where we focused on Indigenous issues, both nationally and locally, get people from the Democratic Party to come and be a part of it and be a part of the conversation and just, you know, be a great way for us to connect with one another beyond these meetings, beyond Twitter, Facebook. And I figure that maybe we can get a few people that are local just to tell us their stories about what it's like to be Indigenous in West Virginia. So with that, I would like to make a motion that we give the executive board the power to produce this YouTube show regarding Indigenous issues in West Virginia. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Mary seconds that motion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Mary says aye. Okay. Was there anybody that is opposed? Okay, good.
I think we lost somebody. We lost, yeah, we lost somebody. Let me see. His name is,
Oh, great. He must have dropped out.
yeah, he dropped out. Greg, there we go. I was like, oh, what's his name? Okay.
I'm going to assume that was internet problems. Okay, so is anybody opposed to the question about the YouTube show? And there was no, I didn't ask this, there was no debate. I mean, there's so few of us in this caucus. It's easy to forget.
I think it's a great idea. And I think, you know, there's so many things we could talk about.
Right.
You know, not just Indigenous people, but like the Voting Rights Act. And, you know, I mean, right now that's a topic of discussion, but, you know, things like that, we could talk about it and how it affects us. And, you know,
well, as far as I know, there aren't too many actual Democratic Party shows out there. So I think we can expand a little bit beyond, because to say that, you know, Indigenous people can only talk about Indigenous issues in and of itself doesn't make sense. So yeah, I expect this to be something where we can have some town halls. You know, I've been talking to a few legislators that maybe would like to come on, just to get things started. But like I said, we'll leave this up to the executive board that we're forming to produce it, to choose, what we do and how we do it. And we'll discuss that at one of those meetings in the future. At this time, is there any new business? Does anybody want to bring anything up for discussion? Any motions need to be made? Anything at all? Mary Ann, your hand's up.
Oh, I just wanted to share with you all that the Black Caucus, we're going to be doing a newsletter. And if you want us to, help promote your podcast, Kim can add that in the.
That would be great. That would be great. And as you know, I'm sure that, I don't know what your newsletter's about if you want to share it with the Indigenous Caucus, but we'd be happy to share anything that you send us as well. I think that working together is the best way forward for all of us. So that's where we're at. At this point, is there
Mary Ann
anybody?
has her hand up again.
Mary Ann, have you just not taken your hand down?
I took it down. I think, are y'all taking my hand down and then
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Yeah, once you start talking, I take it down. Okay,
That's what's going on because I keep taking it down and I look up and I'm like, what the?
okay,
Mary,
no worries. I'll let you take it down.
it's what she does. Anyway. Okay. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and set our meeting date for our next meeting. 4 weeks from now would still pretty much keep us in September. So I'm thinking 5 weeks. So 5 weeks from now, I need to pull up a calendar when I do this.
Hang on, I'll give you the date. It's
Okay.
Wednesday, October 6th. We're gonna go 5 weeks.
Okay, let's go 5. That way we just stay in every month. I think that's simpler. And so we'll do October the 6th, the 6th, October the 5th. Oh, now Mary's got it all. We're doing 5 Wednesdays from now. I
Right.
believe I'm going with Sandra with the 6th.
I
Okay,
have
it
my
is.
calendar right in front of me, so.
I went with you. And 6:30 works with everybody again. I think this has been a pretty good time for us.
Yeah,
And then for the executive board meeting, I would like to come together sometime. I don't think we need to announce it as far in advance, but if right now the only people in that are Sandra, me, and Mary. So what do you guys say? And
we have some openings too for a parliamentarian and a treasurer.
well, that's another thing that I think that the next meeting, since it's 5 weeks away, we're going to go ahead and announce those positions for people to run on. So that will be coming out. We'll have that in. Everybody get a list that you'll see beforehand, well noticed. But yeah, we'll have those elections in the next meeting. And I would like to get the executive board together fairly soon to discuss this YouTube show. So I think that we can. I think that if we're just strategizing, I don't think we need to really set the date 14 days in advance. I think as long as we just strategize and don't do any votes, we can meet whenever. So you just let me know what works for you, Sandra. Send me a few dates over and we'll plan something here in the next few weeks.
Okay.
All right. So anybody else have anything else they want to add? All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and thank you all for coming. It was very great, and it was good seeing you all.
Great seeing you.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.